Today on the Luke Branquinho Show, I go one-on-one with the one and only Cody Johnson.
It was different, and we referred to it as the biggest little roping in Texas. But we had no idea how big it was going to get so fast. And we raised a bunch of money for charity too. Here's the analogy I gave. When I was a kid, I had Air Jordan tennis shoes. I had a red Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls jersey because I wanted to be like Michael Jordan. He's one of my heroes in the the sport of basketball and just athletics. And he brought to the table is, why don't we have a youth day this year? Why don't we have a ladies day? And I'm like, that's perfect. Instead of cramming more of the same team ropings in, we could have done some different numbered events, but that's where the incentive kind of came in.
Welcome to the Luke Branquinho Show. The next guest on our show is a guy that traded in his bull rope for a guitar and has had some pretty good success. 2025 CMA Artist of the Year nomination, Cody Johnson. Thanks for joining me, man.
How are you, buddy?
Good, good. I appreciate you having us out to the tack room and doing a little roping, and this has been fun so far.
Well, last time I canceled on you because I lost my voice, and so I thought, you know what, let's just make this authentic. I love the show, but you and I both know being in the studio a lot of times just kind of gets monotonous. And
absolutely.
So getting a chance to rope with you and just kind of hang out where all the magic happens in here. It does look like a cactus rope shop back there now that I look at it.
Cactus saddlery, cactus ropes. Yeah.
You're welcome, Barry. You're welcome, Josh.
Dustin, we got you covered, right? I got the resistals on.
Yeah.
We're looking sharp. Man, I know a lot of your conversation on shows and stuff is music. I want to go beyond that. Okay. Stuff you're doing outside of the industry, of the music industry with, I'm gonna nail it, the CoJo roping. This is the second year you're having it, Belton, Texas, first week of October.
Yeah, it's really grown. We didn't want to go over the top with it the first year. Working with Cammy and Darren Peterson and Corky Ullman, I didn't want it to resemble the World Series finale. I didn't want it to resemble the Feist, the BFI. I wanted it to kind of be an exclusive event. And so we did cap a lot of the ropings. And there was a lot of people that, they weren't happy about that. But we were able to get through every day in time to go back, take showers, cook out, hang out. And so, I feel like that's just as important at a team roping as going and winning the roping. The format was great. All the open guys, loved it, and they did great. And it was different. And we referred to it as the biggest little roping in Texas. But we had no idea how big it was going to get so fast. And we raised a bunch of money for charity too.
Yeah, and we're going to get into the charity, but the way you set it up, like I'd never been to a roping like that. In fact, the last team roping I went to maybe it'd been 20 years ago. Yeah. And man, you guys rolled that thing off. And I never did go to the George Strait, but it seemed like those cowboys said, man, this is almost as close to George Strait, but a lot better, I should say, not a little bit, because you had more variations.
We had the trucks, we had the trailers, Randy Bloomer, Bill Fick, those guys really stepped up, and those guys want to go rope for a truck and a trailer. And it hasn't been done since, the Strait. And there was a few other ropings that started to do it, but then they kind of backed off of it. And, those guys were really disappointed. And knowing all those guys, I was listening to them say that. I said, guys, if we're going to do a truck and trailer, we have to always do a truck and a trailer. But it was the George Strait format, but just a little bit more hyped up. I took some of my notes from rodeo, like we had a hospitality area just for the ropers. And they get that at rodeos, but they don't get that at a lot of team ropings. And, Cammy and Darren did a great job of running it smooth, and man, it turned out really good. And this year we've kind of beefed it up even more. We've added a youth day where it's an all youth team roping. And then we've got a ladies day for breakaway and ladies team roping. And for the first 2 days, I'm not even roping. I'm just getting to hang out and hand out prizes and watch people that don't normally get to do that,
Yeah. Well, going back to the open roping, it was the way they progressed, but the short round Saturday. Mm-hmm. And that team won 65 grand.
That's it. But
the truck, the trailer, the saddles, I mean, it's a great payday for a team roper, especially those guys that go to the open ropings and rodeo. The money that they could win is not near as much as those lower numbered ropings because they don't have as many entries in them.
Right. And I don't think a lot of people probably watching this realize that those guys have to go hustle to make their money. For instance, take a guy like me. I'm a number 4 header. I went to 3 team ropings this year, and I've won $30,000. $30,000 on the line in the PRCA could make or break a guy.
Absolutely.
But in team roping, there's these big prize lines, and the open guys don't get to do that as much. So we really wanted to concentrate on that and I wanted them to want to come back. And so then this year we started getting phone calls from everybody going, when is this going to be? So we don't place our stuff around. I mean, from rope horse for charities to other rope-ins, we want to place it around this so we can make sure we can be there. And I thought, man, we've done it. We made it.
Well, even some of the youth, like Tyler Pearson, a good friend of mine, his son, they're coming down because of what you're doing for the youth and having that day. You know, so they're not the big time team ropers. It's all the way down to the kids are planning their schedule to come to CoJo.
Yeah, and speaking of kids, you know, this year we decided to make it all about Texas FFA. So when we have our Cowboy Gala, we're calling it this year. It won't be quite as fancy as last year. We wanted to change it up. I said, no, let's do it at Chef's Barbecue. Let's make it a little bit less formal, kind of a little cowboy party. And we're going to raise a bunch of money for Texas FFA, which had such a huge influence on me as a young man growing up, not only on the cowboy side of it, but in the music side of it, on the talent show, the talent team, they call it. So I'm excited about that.
Contestants loved it, obviously, but you had a crowd there. Yeah. I mean, like, it was standing room only for these people coming in and watching.
I kind of felt bad for one person. They bought their tickets and they thought they were buying tickets to a show. So I went and took pictures with them and signed some autographs and said, sorry, no. They had no idea what a team roping was, but they got education out of it.
I bet they enjoyed it too.
Yeah, they did. You know, and that's one aspect that I get to bring to this is the fanfare part of it. It does get a little monotonous because I feel like I'm constantly being watched. And you know as well as I do, when you're the guy that rides into the arena and you're that guy, all the phones are out.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's no different than when you were bulldogging. Luke's up. Here we go.
Right.
You know, and so it does make me a little bit nervous. But, I got through the first year and now, like, all the nerves are gone. It feels good to draw that many people to our sport, like I said, even if they don't know what it is.
Exactly.
And we're educating them on our Western way of life.
Well, not only did the fans have their phones out watching, but it was also on Fox Sports.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool was that to have your event put on Fox Sports?
I definitely watched it. I watched it a few times. I was like, this is freaking cool, man. You know, and just like in my bus out on the road, we got a TV outside and a couple of TVs in the front lounge. If you walk on my bus, the Cowboy Channel's on.
Absolutely.
It's always on. It's just on repeat. And it's funny because all the guys in the band and crew that know nothing about rodeo, they wind up sitting outside my bus just watching the Cowboy Channel. And so seeing the commercials, like we were watching the other day, and the commercial for the second year of the CoJo Championship Event comes on, and I'm like, that's cool, man.
Right.
That's really cool.
And of all the things you've seen and done in your career, to be able to sit there and watch your TV and say, that's what it's about. That's
well, you
awesome.
know, I mean, I'm accustomed, I don't want this to come off the wrong way. I've grown accustomed to being successful in my venue, in my arena of music. It's something I've been doing my entire life. You know, me and Colby Lovell had this conversation one time where I said, I would just wish I could get to rope like you, to have that swing. And he said, have you ever seen me pick up a guitar? And I thought, you know, that's a great point.
Right.
So to have success in this arena and, you know, to honor the cowboy heritage and to help out the industry, it means just as much to me as an Entertainer of the Year award, you know, and on that side of it.
Well, I know what you've done for the youth, obviously, with giving back to Texas FFA, the charities that you've given back to with this event. For me, it has been an honor for me to be a part of it as the MC, which I'm going to get to that once we come back from break. But just it's an honor again to be here with you. And
I appreciate it.
Man, this has been fun. We're going to take the break right now. When we come back, we'll have more with Cody Johnson. Welcome back to the Luke Branquinho Show, here with my good friend Cody Johnson. Cody, again, thank you for having us out here.
You bet.
I want to do some highlights from last year.
Okay.
I mean, $865,000 in prize money from the CoJo, $500,000 in prizes.
Just in prizes.
Just in prizes.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's grown.
Yeah, and I think that's my fault because I'm a trinket guy. Like, my wife always refers to it as team roper math.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, babe, I won $10,000. No, you didn't. You were riding a $75,000 horse, driving a $90,000 truck, pulling a $100,000 trailer. And I was like, well, I got a buckle.
That's exactly.
But I mean, I think a lot of people like that, you know, that they want the prizes. So the prize thing was really me pushing of like, I want the coolest prizes.
Yeah. So the Open, which was televised Fox Sports, touched on that. 60 of the top teams come back for the Saturday showdown.
Right. To a clean slate.
Clean slate. And that's 2 in a short?
That's 2 in the short.
2 in a short. So those guys, whether they come in 60th or first, it don't matter.
No. It's all starting over. And that was the coolest thing about it is I watched those guys, and I roped in the Open. My heelers missed. Thanks, guys.
Of course I did, yeah.
And I hit the barrier really well, which I was proud of for myself because I'd never been behind that barrier before. And Dustin Egaskiza comes over and goes, man, you're pinging the barrier. And I was like, yes, I'll win. You know, no. But they were playing safe in the beginning. They were really making sure that they got it done in the beginning. And the atmosphere at the short round, because I was sitting up on the balcony watching, actually sitting with Dustin Knobler.
Yeah.
You could feel the electricity in the air, and these guys were slinging bullets.
Absolutely.
I mean, the headshots were out there, crispy. There was not a single healer that tried to check up. They were all just gunslinging. And I thought, man, they're feeling it. Like, they're really feeling what this atmosphere is supposed to be for this format. And it was really fun watching.
Yeah, I got to sit up on the desk there with Drew Stew and call it. I don't know if they got much of my team roping commentary, but it was fun to watch. And you know how it can be. You sit there and watch team rope, and it gets a little bit, not at your event.
No, it wasn't monotonous at all.
Always something that you could go, wow, did that just happen?
Yeah.
That's
and and even in the numbered ropings, I want to make sure and mention that we have the incentive program.
Right.
So in the open roping too. So for instance, my brother-in-law, my branch manager here, Carson, he's a 6 healer. I'm a 4 header. We're a 10 team. But we can enter the open, and we have a chance not only at the truck and trailers, but there's a side pot that is an incentive team, a completely different set of money. It's that way in every numbered roping, and I think that gives more people a chance to say, look, well, we're not a 12 team, but let's enter the 12 just to see. Maybe we win it. Maybe we win the incentive.
Yeah.
So it's like combining a lot of ropings into one, and we still get done in time to go eat dinner.
Absolutely.
And I love that part.
Well, you're doing it with the youth, you're doing it with the women. So, I mean, it's all the way through. And like you said, it's almost, you're entering one roping, but you have a chance at twice the money.
Exactly. And another cool thing this year that has been really, mind-blowing for me, it's just a testimony of how quick this thing has stepped up, is that the ladies breakaway roping is now an American super contender. And the Open, the CoJo, is an American super contender. It's the only team roping where you can qualify for the American. And I think that's freaking cool, man. You know, I spoke a couple of years ago at the PRCA convention there in Vegas, and I gave an analogy of, as cowboys and cowgirls, a lot of times, and I see this a lot at my shows, there will be people in their brand new CoJo Resistol, in their brand new CoJo Wrangler jeans and shirts, and they're the furthest thing from a cowboy. Yeah. And I think a lot of professional cowboys and cowgirls, they look at people like that and they're like, they don't need to be wearing a hat. Here's the analogy I gave. When I was a kid, I had Air Jordan tennis shoes. I had a red Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls jersey because I wanted to be like Michael Jordan. He's one of my heroes in the the sport of basketball and just athletics. If you ever saw me play basketball, you'd do that. I'm the worst basketball player there is. But when you elevate the game, like you said, with the American getting involved and Teton and Fox and all this stuff, it brings people that know maybe about me through music, and then they go want to look like a cowboy, and they come out and they see it, and maybe we've changed that person's mind about a lot of things or changed their perspective.
Well, and to that point, I can remember when I was flying out of LA when I was out in California, and I would have a cowboy, and this has been 15 years ago, I'd have a cowboy hat on, and I'd be walking through the airport, and I'd get not just looked at, but glared at, like, what's this guy doing here? Now, you can walk through the airport in LA, New York, when they see that cowboy hat, it means something to them.
It does.
And I going to the Resistol rookie
I was just fixing to say, I remember that stuck with me. He gave a speech at the Resistol Rookie of the Year banquet about wear your hat. Wear your hat. And it's funny, you can ask Carson. The first time we went to a team roping and he had a ball cap on, I said, not only are you a direct representation of me, you're a direct representation of our entire industry. Yeah. And now he gets in the truck and he's like, don't worry, I have my lid in the back seat, or it's in the trailer. But yeah, you can definitely see a difference. I think that Taylor Sheridan's had a lot of help in bringing cowboy back to cool.
Yep.
It's now cool to be a cowboy. When I first started in the music industry, I was told that the cowboy hat was not going to make it. Cowboy hats ain't selling. When I always tell people, as you can see, I still have it on, and there are a lot of cowboy hats, and I think that's really great for what we do, for who we are.
Well, like you said, the professionals in our industry sometimes look at those people and kind of take a step back. And I said, no, invite them, because if they're buying a hat and boots, they're going to sell a hat and boot to somebody else that doesn't understand our industry. And the other thing I try to make a point of is Calgary is a great example. You go up there and you see people walking around like this, which drives me nuts. But at the same time, I try not to make a deal. I walk up, hey, bud, your hat's...
The bow goes in the back.
Bow goes in the back.
Bow goes in the back.
And I think anytime a person... They appreciate that. They're embarrassed.
Yeah.
But they appreciate that because...
I bet they don't do it a second time.
Right. They're like, well, this guy, he's helping me not be a gunsel. So
yes.
They appreciate that. So, all right, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to have more with Cody Johnson. Welcome back to the Luke Branquinho Show, here with Cody Johnson. Cody, last year you had Champs for Charity at the gala, and you guys raised almost or right at $1 million with the auction. That, me being a part of it, first off, I emceed it with Joe Beaver. When you called me and said, hey, do you want to MC this event? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I hung up, and I immediately called my wife, and I was like, I've never emceed an event ever in my life.
Well, you were obviously Joe Beaver has done a lot of it.
Right.
But watching you announce, on the Cowboy Channel and things like that, I was like, and I know you personally, I was like, hey, Luke's the guy. All it really takes is personality.
Right.
You have personality and charisma. And, I think a lot of people worry, like, what if I mess up?
Yeah.
Half of my stage antics are accidents, and it just kind of works. And you just have an accident again, But we're going to auction off the Cowboys for the CoJo Open. We're going to auction off the Cowgirls for the breakaway, since they are both American Super Contenders. I thought it'd be kind of cool.
Absolutely.
A percentage of those funds go towards Texas FFA. We've got a bunch of great auction items that we're going to auction off. All that money goes to Texas FFA, and then I'm going to play 5 or 6 songs, and then it's time to party. Another great thing we did last year that we will do again this year is the Honorary Champion Award.
Right.
Last year it was Bill Fick.
Yep.
This year it is, you'll have to be there if you want to find out.
Absolutely. Bill Fick, when he got up there, he's like, he hates being in front of people and talking, doesn't he? Oh my gosh. I felt bad for him, but at the same time, it was kind of...
He did get a little emotional, which is not something you see out of him a lot, and he said, I really kind of want to wear this buckle every day. And I said, wear it. And he said, well, it's really nice, and I don't want to mess it up. So, but he called me afterwards. We had a long conversation about what that meant to him. And I kind of pulled from, the Resist All Man of the Year award.
Right.
As you know, I received that, I think it was 2018. And I thought, I'd like to take that and kind of spin it and have an honorary champion award at the gala each year.
Well, that's a great idea, and nobody more deserving than Bill Fick.
I agree.
And I told you, I called Bill, it's been a month ago, and Bill probably gets a lot of calls from people like, hey, Bill, I need this and that. And I said, Bill, I don't need anything. I just want to tell you I appreciate everything you do for the sport of rodeo, the youth of rodeo, everything from top to bottom. And he was, he was grateful to hear that. Yeah,
that was a big influence on me with this roping, is knowing guys like Joe Beaver, knowing guys like Bill Fick, that they're constantly, you can't say their name. Their name is synonymous with giving back.
Absolutely.
Especially to youth. And that was one of the things that Cammie brought to the table is, why don't we have a youth day this year? Why don't we have a ladies day? And I'm like, that's perfect. Instead of cramming more of the same team ropings in, we could have done some different numbered events, but that's where the incentive kind of came in.
Exactly.
So I think this year it's going to be really great. And just so you know, the only reason this is called the championship event and not the roping, what if we want to have a match bronc riding or a bull riding one year? We just leave it open-ended, or some steer wrestling. Maybe I'll crack back out.
There you go. I see your chaps hanging up there in the corner.
There's a reason we switched sides in this tack room.
Well, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up with Cody Johnson. Welcome back to the Luke Branquinho Show. Before we wrap up, Cody, we're going to go through the schedule. October 7th through the 12th.
Belton, Texas.
Belton, Texas. Tuesday, we got your ladies breakaway, Longo.
The Longo. And remember, this is an American Super Contender, so it's really important. And then afterwards, we have the all-ladies team roping.
That's Tuesday. Remember that. Wednesday is the junior roping.
I can't wait to watch this. There's an open junior roping, and then there's I believe a 10.5 junior roping right after that.
So Wednesday, your junior events for them kids. Thursday is the Longo for the CoJo.
And this is the crucial day that really matters. This is the day that you're going to see people really battling it out to try to get to that long round a few days later.
Yeah, 60 teams from the Longo move on to the short round on Saturday for the big prizes.
The big prizes.
All right, then we go to Friday is your number 12 with the 10 incentive in it.
Number 12 with an 11
or 11 incentive.
If you are an 11.5 team or lower, you are eligible for the incentive in the 12.
Friday night, Champs for Charity Gales.
Champs for Charity Gales on Friday night, yep.
Yeah, and that is going to be at...
That's going to be at Chef's Barbecue.
Then we go to Saturday is the CoJo Pro-Am, then the CoJo Finals.
The final, the short round, and then we've also got the short round for the ladies breakaway too. You've seen these ladies get after it in a short round, and it's crazy how fast, 1.5 seconds, and you're like, if you blink, you'll miss it. So, and then the next day, on Sunday, we go to I believe the 10.5.
10.5.
The businessman's format, 10.5 with a 9.5 incentive.
Yeah, just a week long of stacked events. Also, you can watch the CoJo on the Cowboy Channel Live.
Right here.
So make sure you guys stayed tuned. 7th through the 12th, Belton, Texas. Cody Johnson, Championships Events, CoJo Roping. Cody, I can't thank you enough for joining me.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
You bet. And stay tuned next week because we'll have Cody joining us again.